くぞ。
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to talk about imprint stones, where to get them, what are the most useful stones that you can use, and what game mode should we be focusing really on to get the best imprint stones. But before we get into that, the first thing I want to mention is I actually can't believe I forgot this, but in the previous video I just did, I was talking about the characters you can use for the Immortal Vulcan, and actually Goro is actually insane. He has an amazing long 5 PG, he has a nice leadership, but you can use Shizuru or Ryo for a leadership for him that gives that 20% PG rate. But he does deal venom damage, which is freaking amazing. He is a tanky bastard. He's a defensive character. He does have 15% power charge rate, which would synergize really well with the 20% PG rate from Shizuru, Midsummer Night Shizuru, or Ryu. So he's definitely a character you should have on your first team against Immortal Vulcan. Now let's talk about these imprint stones. So the first place we're going to talk about is Rite of Passage. My bad, guys. So in Rite of Passage, you can actually get imprint stones, and you get these here by chance. You know, whenever you acquire your coins here. Honestly, I never ever use 1,000 guild coins to get one of these things, because these babies are just by chance. You're not guaranteed to get the stone you want, and in all honesty, the stone that I would want the most from here would be in the square passage box, which would be this one right here, which increases power charge rate by, this goes up to 8%, and then it gains power for 1% for every 1 second upon using a weight skill. This is an OP damn stone, especially for the Immortal Dungeons. But I never ever use my coins for this, because this is just by chance. You just don't know if you're going to get it or not, and there are quite a few stones in here, so your chances aren't that good that you get it, but you could. Usually I just use my coins in here for these hammers right here, maybe some capsules, maybe the rare enhancement hammers, and that's about it. I don't really focus on these stones because I find that the other stones have more usefulness for the most part. The PG stone is really great, but it's really only great on a select few characters. The more and more that I play all these game modes, the more that I'm seeing that just having more attack seems to be more beneficial really for your characters. For the most part, not always. So I'm not going to really be talking about Rite of Passage very much. So now we're going to go into another game mode where you can get imprint stones, and that is the Spider Robot. Now the Spider Robot is a really pain in the butt one, because you actually need 5 characters. They need to be OP. There's lots of switching. You got to have shock damage and chill damage. I'm not going to go into all that. But when you look at the reward info, right, and you take a look at where you get your imprint stones here, you can get all these. These are crap, honestly. So if you're not scoring, you know, more than 26 million, you're not going to get crap. Then you get in here. Now these stones are actually quite useful. These are the silver stones, which offer increased attack, and then of course, you know, increase the shock and chill damage. Something to note about imprint stones when it comes to dot effects is you can put 3 imprint stones per character. Say a character like Genitz, who has bleed. Say I have 1 stone with bleed on them already. Well, then the other 2 stones I can put whatever dot effect I want, because the dot effects don't stack. You only need 1 stone that applies the dot effect for the character that benefits the character. So for example, Genitz, you'd have 1 bleed imprint stone. For Ignitz, you'd have 1 shock imprint stone, like this one right here, and so on and so on. And then the other stones can be another dot effect. It really doesn't matter because they don't stack. However, the attack does stack. So these stones are quite useful. So if you're able to score 35 million here, you can get these stones. However, they are not the best stones. And considering the amount of cost to reward ratio that there is in this game mode, I really never feel like this game is even worth it. I can score around 250 million with the team you just saw. And so that means I'm able to get these stones right here, which are good, right? But they're the gold imprint stones, and they're increased HP and increased defense fighter. This goes up 12% when maxed out, right? And then you get the dot effect. Well, these are really good stones, and they offer a lot of extra CP. But the thing is, there are better stones than this. So even though I'm scoring these high scores and I'm able to get you know, maybe some of these imprint stones, I really don't want to be using these stones unless I absolutely have to. I mean, you're going to be in situations sometimes where you can put one of these stones on a character, and of course, they're still going to benefit, and they're still going to become stronger, but they're not the best stones. So from my perspective, it's, you got a game mode here where you have 5 OP characters. You need to have the right strikers. You need to set up the right cards to apply your shock and chill. It's just a real pain in the butt mode. And honestly, the cost to reward ratio to me just isn't worth it. So I don't consider this a very good place to farm imprint stones because 1, it doesn't give you the best imprint stones. 2, it doesn't, you have to have 5 maxed out characters with maxed out imprint stones to really do well in this game mode. All these characters are freaking decked out like crazy. Other than my Eileen being level 40, but still that's very strong, maxed out imprint stones. And the same with Rugal being level 47. He doesn't have max capsules, but he does have max imprint stones. So this game mode to me really isn't the greatest for it. So I wouldn't prioritize this game mode at all. Next we have the Immortal Dungeons. Now in the Immortal Dungeons we have 6 Immortal Dungeons. We have Immortal Victor, Immortal Typhon, Immortal Mos, Immortal Vulcan, Immortal Rock, and Immortal Nyx. And each of these dungeons offers stones that apply certain dot effects. Well, the good thing is, like for example, we have the Immortal Vulcan here, which actually gives us stones that apply poison damage, which is great because the boss is weak to poison, so you get poison stones from here. In Immortal Victor, the boss is weak to bleed, so you get bleed stones there. And Immortal Typhon, the boss is weak to chill, so you get chill stones there. Immortal Mos, shock, you get shock stones from him. Immortal Vulcan, you get poison, like we just said. Immortal Rock, you get burn. And Immortal Nyx, you get blackened stones or darkness stones from them. However, you only get the HP and the attack, just like the Spider Robot. Now, I do think it is worth coming in here because you can actually set up a team to where you could do, say you're only in the silver. Well, you can still get these attack stones, which isn't bad. And by the way, you see their darkness and burn here. So they do offer other colors, but when you start getting into the gold, then they just offer the, well, these are just silver. By the way, these are trash. Don't use these things. If they don't have attack on them, don't use them. So like this one here, you have poison. So when they're gold, they're going to be the type that has the advantage against the boss that you're facing. So again, because this is Immortal Vulcan, we have poison damage stones. These are gold stones. They're good stones, but again, they're not the best. I do think it is worth it because you can get into platinum and do it. And I know a lot of people aren't scoring this 350 million. Really, I think for maybe a lot of players, they're around, you know, probably lower, maybe in the 100 millions or so. So you're getting these increased attack. These stones will help you. Again, dot effects don't stack. So if I'm using K and I got one burn stone on him, the other 2 stones don't need to be burned. They can be whatever they want to be as long as we got that extra attack. So it's still worth it to come in here and farm for these. Now let's go into the big kahuna where the real magic is, and that is Guild Raid. Now in Guild Raid, this is where the really awesome stones are. Here on hard mode, if you're able to score 194 million to 233 million, you'll be able to get these stones right here. And they do offer increased attack. They're decent stones, but they're not really where you want to be. You know, hard mode, unfortunately, just doesn't really give you the best stones. It's really expert. And unfortunately, in expert, you have to accumulate 408 million. Well, you can do this 4 times a day. So you need 103 million for each team. And I'm going to try in the future to set up a team that isn't so OP that can get you that 103 million in expert mode. But the stones in here are absolutely insane. If you can get that 409 million, you have a chance of getting one of these stones. And yeah, they're only offering burn, right? You just see burn, 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 right? Just burn, burn, burn. However, just like I said, guys, you can take these stones and look at this. Increase attack, increase defense fighter by 12%. And there's going to be stones for balance fighters. There's going to be stones for attack fighters. You can literally put a stone on a character that can bump them up by 22%, which is a whole lot better than just 12% and having extra HP. The HP ones would come in handy for a character that maybe lacks survivability, but I can tell you, even my Iori, I just put attack stones and I can keep them alive. You can just put a different striker that offers healing to help them survive. But if they're really, really low on, like you don't have them awakened level very high, maybe an HP stone would be good for them. However, these stones are just insane. So again, say Genetz, he has bleed. Well, this is a green stone. I can put two of these stones on Genetz, right? Two of these burn stones because the dot effects don't stack, and just make sure I have one stone that has bleed effect. Or I could just put 3 of these stones and have an extra 66% extra attack and not even worry about the bleed. To be perfectly honest, that's a lot of extra attack. That's a lot of extra CP. So this here game mode really is where it's at. This is where you really want to be farming your stones for the most part. Yeah, you still want to be doing immortal dungeons. You still can use those stones. There are places where they're applicable, and you still, want to be doing hard so you can get these extra stones, because these silver stones can come in handy. They do offer extra attack, because you can't just go in here and start getting your maxed out imprint stones. You can't, not everybody's going to be able to come in here and go to expert and start getting that 103 million each run, because expert is very, very hard. We have few blackness characters. Right now we just have Halloween Chris, we have Dylan, we have Lady Geese, we have Psyche for our blackness characters. And unfortunately, Dylan is a paywall, so a lot of people aren't going to have him. So they're just going to have Psyche, Halloween Chris, and Lady Geese. But these stones are really where it's at. They're the ones that can really buff up your characters something fierce. And this is really where you want to be farming. You want to be trying to get your 104 million each run with whatever team that you're using on expert mode. Because again, these stones are just freaking OP. And there's nothing but gold stones in here. Nothing but. I mean, of course, you can get these memories, but we're talking about imprint stones. That's really what we're focusing on. You get the gold hammers, of course, and the level 4 experience balls, the imprint stone unpairing kits, which whenever you have an imprint stone in a character, you can actually use these to unpair the stone from the character, which can really come in handy. So my advice to all of you is really try to focus on expert mode. And I'm going to be making a future video about teams that aren't so OP, that can hopefully get you the 103 million each run. Because if you can do that and accumulate 408 million in one day, you'll be able to do this 4 times. You're going to have a chance of getting one of these stones. And those things are freaking OP. You want the best stones possible because they take an immense amount of resources, an immense amount of gold hammers to level up. So it's best just to level up the OP stones and not really worry about the other stones. However, I realize that some players, they're not going to have much choice but to level up, maybe some of these other stones, these silver stones, some of these silver stones, because you're still going to get, and by the way, we do have power charge rate stones in here, which is nice. And they do have dot effects. But again, I don't think these are the best stones. The other power charge rate that I showed you earlier from Rite of Passage are better because you actually get more PG rate on from the Awaken skill on top of just having a set power charge rate. But other stones like these here that offer increased attack, this will go up to 10%, they still are good. So unfortunately, a lot of us, and this is me included, we've already picked up stones that we've already leveled up, and we just find that we're going to end up unequipping them or unpairing them. I'm just unequipping them right now because I don't want to unpair them, and leveling up these ridiculous stones here. Well, now it's not showing me, but leveling up these gold imprint stones that we can get 22% extra attack for each stone. So I would advise everybody to really skip Spider Robot unless you're scoring over 200 plus million. Still keep working on immortal dungeons. And again, guys, you can take all these gold imprint stones that are offering 22% extra attack, and you can put them on the characters, on the teams, on characters that you use on a regular basis in these immortal dungeons. Characters like Guinness, Kay, Pretty Zero, Nameless, characters like that. So hopefully this will provide some insight as far as where to get your imprint stones, what imprint stones are really going to be awesome, and where you should really be focusing your resources. It really should be on Guild Raid, because you can get those stones and you can use those stones on every single character in the game, because those dot effects don't stack. So hopefully this will help some of you out there. Let me know what characters you've gotten, what cards you've gotten, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.